Congressman, you have President Zelensky describing what is unfolding in Ukraine as genocide. Your thoughts on these new images?
Sure, looks like genocide, and it's very hard to watch. And we've seen a lot of images over the last month or so that have been very hard to watch. We're seeing Vladimir Putin inflict a level of wickedness that almost no one has seen in our lifetime or generations before us. And it just moves me as someone who can play a small part, who's got a oar in this ship of ours in our country. You know, not the biggest oar, but I'm in the ship. I'm with other leaders in the Congress and want to do everything I can to make sure we help get Ukraine to safe harbor, and that we do all we can, not just with sanctions and humanitarian relief and lethal aid, but to promise the people that will be there for the day after to rebuild that country so that they can once again stand tall.
And I want to talk to you about that ship and the direction it is moving in. But before I do, this weekend, we've seen the back and forth between Ukraine and Russia on possible peace talks. You have Ukrainian negotiators saying it seems like we're moving forward. You have Russia pushing back. Do you have any sense of whether or not there is actually a move towards peace talks?
Well, I would advise the Ukrainians, and I met with many of their members of parliament, and all women this week were in D.C. The men are back fighting. The women are all over the world on this world tour trying to get other parliaments in the world to stand with them. And so they're doing hard work themselves. But I warn them, be very skeptical of anything Russia offers, and any suggestion that they are pulling back, could also be a ruse to have refugees return to the country and see a Russia obliteration of more innocent people. And so you just have to be very, very skeptical of the Russians, but it's ultimately their decision. We just stand ready to support them to defend themselves as long as they're in this fight. But Alicia, one other thing, it's not really a peace negotiation if Russia continues to act violently. Unless there's a ceasefire, it's very hard to take any peace negotiation seriously.
All right, then let's talk about accountability, because as you have Zelensky talking about this as a genocide, give us a sense then of what accountability looks like for Putin.
He should be investigated for war crimes. Those sure look like war crimes to me. He should forever be isolated as a world leader, and among the ranks of Iran and Venezuela and in Nicaragua for the way that he has conducted himself. But we also need accountability, among the private sector in the United States, and we can put pressure as citizens on any business that continues, to do business in Russia. We put sanctions in place. But that doesn't prevent U.S. businesses from doing business necessarily in Russia. So we should keep the public pressure up. We also need unity, Alicia. Right now, I see too many Republicans who have been soft on Russia and tough on diabetics. Boy, were they willing to stop diabetics from getting $35 a month insulin this week, but they sure line up behind Donald Trump and have been quite soft behind him as he praises Putin, or they've been quiet. They don't condemn him at all, which, again, for the average American, they will just believe, well, then this is what the Republican Party line is. If our party leader continues to praise Putin, call him a genius, call him savvy, and even request that he help Donald Trump by putting dirt on Joe Biden. So we need unity right now. That helps the Ukrainians more than anything.
Well, to that point, Congressman, we've been talking about accountability for Russia. Here in the U.S., we have a different set of forces attacking democracy. Republicans continue to whitewash what happened on January 6th. Does that lack of accountability undermine our own standing on the world stage?
Absolutely, Alicia. Yes, right now we are a country that is coming out of its first violent transfer of power. We didn't have a peaceful transition of power for the first time in our history. And the person who lost that election is rooting for the dictator who is brutally murdering innocent women and children. You've seen them in those images. And that's because Donald Trump and those who support him want America to look like Russia. They don't want a rule of law. They don't want a free press. They don't want free speech or free religion. They want an authoritative state that looks like Russia. And the best thing that we can do as Americans, the antidote to that, is uniting and saying that we are Zelensky Americans and we reject Putin Republicans in this country.